Good morning. There is absolutely no way that the microphone is working right. Is there? Is it working? Are we good? How does it sound? No way that the mic... Oh, it sounds okay. It sounds okay. Wow. Okay. For those of you that stuck around through all of the introduction, I think someone at some point said, "Okay, I'm confused. What's happening?" It was confusing. So what usually happens when we go live? Let me talk you through the technical side of our Streamlabs setup before we get into the stream. So we go live with a looping animation, which is the starting soon screen. Then when we're about to go live, we used to just go straight into the countdown, but we were cutting some people off. Some people missed the start of the show, so we have an infomercial video, which is the one that has like Bates and Manny, and shout out to those guys for being in that, by the way.
Legends.
So we play that just to give us an extra couple of minutes buffer, and then when that finishes, we jump into the intro video. So I started the infomercial, and it got about a minute into it, and then just stopped and started again. So I was like, oh, okay, and then it stopped again. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just do the intro. Started the intro, got about a minute into it, just stopped and started again. I was like, ah! Thankfully, the second time it went all the way through. But anyway, if you got to see the intro like a million times on the way into this, we appreciate you still being here. Thank you very much. And if you don't know who we are, my name is Graham, and this is the man that we call
Morning, Shaggers.
He's not Rocky Balboa today, though. He is fully twitched up, though.
No.
Yeah. I almost put on my my purple Twitch jumper today. I'm glad we didn't, because it looked like we'd have set it up. But I am wearing, for the first time in quite a while actually, the blue and white Ice Cream Uploads baseball cap, that Dodger style, because I'm wearing the Human Race United shirt that Bibby thought was like a Turkish market knockoff that had been like melting on the radiator or anything.
It does. So everyone in the chat, tell me that doesn't look like it's been melted on the radiator.
If you haven't seen them, if you haven't seen them before, then it absolutely looks like I've just bought like the 92 shirt, the blue one that's class that was redone. It looks like I'm just wearing a 92 shirt that's been drawn in crayon kind of thing. So there you go. There you go. But anyway, if you're in the chat, please feel free to let us know if you are here. I know a lot of you have already been doing that, which is nice to see. Did you all appreciate the Christmas jingle intro? It's the first time we've used that this year, so it's the same, like the usual intro that sounds absolutely nothing like that. I apologise for the poor attempts at trying to do it there. But with snow and jingles, if that isn't Christmas, then I don't know what is. Snow and jingle bells? Yes, please. But anyway, what are we here for today? Well, myself, Graham, this guy is Babe, and we together are Ice Cream Uploads. And in true Ice Creamy fashion, we are all here for The Scoop, the UK's #1 video game podcast, even if we do say so ourselves. We're going to give you our thoughts and impressions on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games. And everyone's dropping the hosts already. Western Steel Bonsai, thank you very much, you beautiful people. Appreciate the hosts this morning. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Anyway, as mentioned, we're going to give you our thoughts and impressions on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games. And we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions, and you can share those with us live each and every single weekday at usually 10 a.m. ish. So usually we go live at 10 a.m. ish, and today is very much an ish. It's 25 past 11, but it is Tuesday. Tuesday's like the full work day, so you know some things can slip on a Tuesday. So it's still ish. 11's close to 10. It's right next to it, so you know, ish. In fact, 11 is more 10-ish than being half 10, really, I suppose, because it's kind of 10-ish.
Thank you for the ice cream.
Chappers, thank you very much for the host too. Appreciate the support already. Thank you. Anyway, we turn this live stream that's at 10 a.m. ish into an on-demand video, a podcast on YouTube, and an audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So if you are in the chat, please feel free to use your voice. We encourage it. We want to hear from you guys, so get involved. Before we do jump into your voices and the news, though, a couple of bits of housekeeping. Exclamation mark giveaway is no longer needed. I mean, it's still there. We haven't removed it because that would be very, very on the ball with the housekeeping, and we're not quite that on the ball with it, but it's still there.
Give me a second. I'll do it. There we go.
Exclamation mark giveaway is over. We had a giveaway. Thank you very much to 2K, the guys at 2K UK, and the guys at Muscle Moose for providing us with a prize package. The winner has been notified. So if you went to that giveaway, check your email. You should have an email in your inbox. Nice. We do know who that is. We just don't want to name, because if that person doesn't claim, then we'll have to redraw, and we don't want to let someone feel gutted and stuff. But if you missed that, don't worry, there is a chance to enter another giveaway if you're a subscriber. That is !Cyberpunk. We are giving away a copy of Cyberpunk next Monday, so just 6 days away. You will know before release that you have a copy of Cyberpunk 2077 on the platform of your choice. Just !Cyberpunk in the chat to have a look at that. Yeah. Anyway, speaking about in the chat, let's jump in and see who we have here. So Tito was in early. Good morning, Tito. There you go. I'm so confused right now. That was Tito that said it. I apologize for the source issue. I've never had that. So usually I just click to view the source and the video plays through. That's it to the end. I don't know why it stopped halfway through, but there you go. We got there eventually. Chappers using his sword of power as any self-respecting, moderating admin would by typing in all caps, technical difficulties, system failure, we're all gonna die, which we appreciate. Cheers, Chappers. Thank you very much. Precision. Thank you very much for the host as well. Hey, how's things, Precision? Are you good? Well, good considering. Sorry to hear your news the other day, but you know what? We still love you, so there you go. Much love, dude. Hope you're okay. James says, in the words of Charlie Hawtrey from the Carry On Firms, oh, hello. That's exactly how Baby says that emote, by the way. We just tweak it through the audio powers of OBS to make it sound a bit different.
Hello!
There we go. I thought, it's just been RTX or something.
No, it's in blue screened.
Tito says, really, you had to keep pushing it back because Baby was still putting his face on. Yeah.
Listen, I wake up this fit every morning. Do you know what I mean? All I have to do is my hair doesn't. That's why I wear a hat most days because I can't be asked gelling my hair. But my hair is an absolute tip.
Yeah, same. I'm at that length where I'm just. I mean, some days you put on a hat because you think I'm just not going to do my hair today. Some days you put on a hat because you think, fuck it, there's no point trying to do the hair today. And I'm at that bit, so I need a bit of a trim again. So yeah, hat's a necessity. Chapper says, I don't think I could have seen that 3-minute timer again. You absolutely could. You get to see me dancing away. God.
Okay, Graham, roll it again.
Oh, let's say, sorry, Chappers. Chapper says he's right. It does look like it's been drawn with crayons and melted. Baby, it messaged me going, what's happened to the badge? And I said, I left it on the radiator for too long. He was like, really? I was like, no, have you not seen them? It's the Human Race collection, Pharrell Williams Adidas. So there's a bunch of Adidas kits that have done it. But obviously, you only really pay attention to that if your team is one of them. So United, Real Madrid or whatever. Outside of that, nah. It's nah. Tito says, how dare you insult anything United? Exactly. Are we dropping frames or just me? I have no record of frame drops. Everything looks good for me. Chapper says it's fine there, so I'm assuming it's good.
You sound okay to me.
Nice. Gagad says, my email must have bounced. It's not you. I can tell you it's not you. I just don't want to mention it until the winner knows. Chapper says, big result. My meeting that usually carves right into this show has been cancelled. Yes, that's what you get. Merry Christmas, Chappers. There you go. 1st of December. There's the gift for you. Start the month as you mean to go on. Nice. Let's jump into the split screen. There we go. Okay, should we jump into some news?
I think we should.
Apologies to those of you that may be on the green side of the console war. We don't have a side on Ice Cream Uploads. We tend to favour the blue side just because we have PS5 consoles, but we are very much pro Xbox Game Pass and all of that jazz. However, today is a very blue show, apart from a little bit of a turnaround at the end. So if you are from the green side of the console war, feel free to stick around because you might have a little bit of a last laugh as we get towards the end of the show. Speaking of last laughs, if you're after the blue side of the console wars, if you want a PS5, there's not been much to laugh about recently because scalpers and scammers have been absolutely, shitting all over what should have been one of the best times of the year. But thankfully, eBay has stepped in and has started to take a little bit of positive action towards fixing that. And I need to change my Chrome. There we go, bring it up. Push. This is written by IGN staff who, that's the perfect name for someone that works at IGN. Imagine that. Being called IGN staff and writing for IGN. That's incredible. Anyway, eBay condemns PS5 photo scammers is taking action against sellers. So we did cover this last week. You may have seen there was at least one PS5 box that had got up to like 1,550 quid when I last saw it. It could have gone even further. And that was someone just selling the packaging of the PS5, purely preying on the fact that some people might misunderstand, might not be able to read, or as we were speaking about last week, might have some form of difficulties, be they don't speak English, they have a learning difficulty, or whatever it is. They didn't comprehend that they weren't buying the console. Anyway, people were taking advantage of that, and now finally eBay have got involved. As auction site eBay has condemned scammers listing photographs of PlayStation 5 consoles and has vowed to take action against the sellers and to remove listings. In a statement to Eurogamer, eBay said, "We condemn these opportunistic sellers who are attempting to mislead other users. We are in the process of removing all listings for photos of PS5s from our marketplace and will be taking appropriate action against the sellers. These sellers are creating listings that look like they're for PS5 consoles, but are actually just for printed photographs of a PS5. Listings feature titles like Sony, PlayStation 5, Digital Edition, 1TB console, white, brackets, photo. And so while actually disclaiming that they are selling a photograph, the bulk of the name appears like a console listing. At time of writing, there are dozens of these listings across UK and US eBay sites. There are listings being actively bid on, with some current bids being in the multiple hundreds of dollars or pounds. These may be inflated by the scammers themselves in order to look more legitimate and fool buyers, or simply be genuine bids by fooled buyers. For any purchase, but especially high-priced or in-demand items, buyers should exercise caution and thoroughly read the listing description," said eBay's statement. "Buyers who receive an item which is not as described are entitled to a refund via our eBay money-back guarantee, provided they complete the transaction on the eBay platform." These sellers clearly know the rules of item must be as described, since every listing has photo, picture, or image only in their description, and often a line in the listing saying that purchasers will only receive a printed picture. So while these listings do technically abide by eBay's rules, it's good to see eBay planning to take action. The statement is unclear on if those who fall victim can be compensated, but the line stating an item which is not as described are entitled to refund suggests not, as all these listings do state that they are photographs. PS5 scams and scalpers have been a major issue since the console launch. For more, take a look at other articles that are mentioned within there, but we will stop at that point in time. I mean, this is the thing. This is kind of the tricky point there is, if you have been missold and misrepresented, you are entitled to get your money back. Absolutely, 100%. But if they do say it's a photo,
yeah,
and if they do say it's an image only or a printout or whatever in the description, technically the item is as described. So that's kind of tricky waters. So I mean, I am playing a little bit of devil's advocate here, leading into that though. So, are eBay right to jump in and get involved there, babe? Thoughts?
I don't know. Like you said, it's a very grey area. I mean, ultimately, they're not selling anything that they're not advertising. That's my worry. Like, morally, it's a shit thing to do because they know that people will probably not read the description or have trouble reading, or like you said, I don't know. But they are selling something that they're advertising. I mean, hopefully, the people who are buying them are the people who have, like, you know, the sniping apps and stuff like that. So it'll just bid on anything that's got PlayStation 5 in there. And then it's those people who are... I don't like the fact that there's apps that are able to do that, because it kind of it's the same people who would have scalped them in the first place because they've got bots set up to try and get everywhere. Let's try and mass buy from everywhere. So the people who hopefully would have been getting these are the people who've set up bots to be able to snipe anything that says PlayStation 5 console in the title, and therefore they just played themselves. However, I don't see that being the case in a lot of the cases where they're receiving them. So yeah, I mean, they're not really selling anything that's not advertised, but I think they're just playing on the people that aren't looking. Now, there's two ways to look at that. My first way is, well, they're not looking, they're not paying attention. This kind of serves you right, because you're feeding into these people who are in it to make money in the first place. But still, I don't know. I honestly, it splinters on my ass on this one. I like the fact that eBay are getting involved, but I don't know what grounds they actually can, because it's not as if they're not selling anything that's not already advertised. So it's a very difficult line to be able to toe. In an ideal world, the people who would have bought them would have been trying to sell them at face value so everybody gets them. That's an ideal world, but we don't live in one of those. It's to try and make as much money as quick as possible at any cost.
Yeah.
So I really don't know where I sit with this one. I don't have enough information from the people who are selling them to know what their circumstances are. But ultimately, I hope the people who have bought them are the people who've made the bots to try and snipe at the very last second. The scalpers have been scalped.
Scalpers have been. Oh, that'd be incredible. That'd be incredible. Gary says, well, first of all, he said, I wonder if eBay asked the buyers for photo evidence. Hey, good morning, Dazlon, by the way. Welcome in, dude. Gary says, buyers haven't got a leg to stand on, as it clearly states it's a photo. Yes, it's a shitty thing to do, but then they need to read the description and then they won't fall for it. I mean, that's the thing, though. Some people could have read that description, and some of them just say image only. And image only in the rest of the context isn't always super clear. I had it in the past where I was buying, it was probably about 15 years ago, I was buying season 1 or season 2 of Prison Break, and someone was using words like original copies of the DVDs kind of thingy, but he was using the fact that copies is a word that has duality in its meaning. I was looking for the original copy of the DVDs. He sent me original copies of the DVDs. So I spent like 30 quid to get like 4 blank shitty printed DVDs in plastic wallets without even covers. It's like, he said it, as the article says, it said original copies, mate. Well, anyway, eBay didn't fucking take too long to go, that's copyright, mate. You're not allowed to copy that, so you can give me money back, no problem. But he was still trying it. So I've had people trying to be shitty with their wording. So whilst the buyers technically aren't doing anything, and that's where all the legal shit falls down, eBay might want to go in and do the right thing. And we're talking the right from an ethical standpoint. Ethics, as we've said quite a few times over the past few weeks, different conversations, ethics and law are different things. The legality of something and whether something is morally or ethically right is not the same thing, which is a shame, but that's just that's ideology versus reality. Something that you want from an ideal situation isn't necessarily what you're going to face in a daily situation. I would like to see, though, if eBay are serious about this, I would like to see them make some visual changes around it. And when I say visual, I don't mean like be seen to do stuff. I mean make actual functional changes. So if I'm listing a console for sale on eBay, to speed up the process, you can go through, what is this item? Is it a console? Is it a and I can choose a PS5 and it'll save it in all of the normal structuring stuff, which is fine. That's nice and useful and it's helpful. And that if the article is listed as a PS5 console, that printout is listed as a console when it's not a console. It's not even a gaming accessory. It's a picture. So it should be listed under art in that sort of respect. So if it's listed as a console, okay, that's not good enough. That's misleading. It does say printout only, but it's also listed as console. So I want my money back.
Yeah.
Fine, okay, give the money back. 100% do that. But I think eBay need to make something like almost like a big flashing red image that pops up that says, warning, this is not a console. So if someone has then read the article, say there was a conversation this morning between Arms of Atlas and Ed Sutton on social media. They were talking about this article, and Ed Sutton says he has severe dyslexia, so he has to read an article and reread the article again. Read a listing and then reread the listing again just to make sure that it is what he thinks it is. But even then on eBay, still taking it with a pinch and has a bit more safety around it because people can be shits. So some people will read the article. Some people will apply all of their logic and sense to it. But some people just can't glean the fact that image only or whatever isn't. I mean, that tiny crappy little bit of the word at the end is what the whole thing revolves around. Some people can't pick that out.
Yeah.
So if eBay are serious about cracking down on it, have something that has, even if it's not a big flashing thing, but has a clear warning, like some iconography, a simple symbol checking system that says not a console. And if the buyer has in any way inputting that listing online, tick the box that shows up, ting, green, this is a console, red, this is not a console. Like almost traffic lighty kind of thing. Maybe not traffic lights, but the logic behind it. So that way, if the buyer has listed it in a way that hits the green traffic light system or something like that, maybe not that, but if it says console and then it's not a console, the buyer's at fault. It's undeniably the buyer's fault there. Even if it says in the description, you're still misleading. I'd like to see something like that.
Well, this isn't just for consoles. Obviously, it's the consoles have highlighted it because it's the hot item to buy this Christmas or this holiday period. This would have been for anything over the years. It's just been magnified 1 billion times because of the amount of people that are getting scammed by it. This would have been for the Xbox 360 back in the day. It would have been, well, obviously it wasn't been for the Mega Drive because eBay wasn't knocking around then. But ever since eBay was created, there would have been missold items all the way throughout. It could just be Pokemon cards are making a comeback now. Someone somewhere will be buying an empty box of Pokemon cards because that's what's been listed, and it would have said it in the description, but away from all of the things that it would have that they don't want you to see. So, brand new box, vintage from 1993 or whatever, but in mint condition, and then at the very bottom, this box is empty. All item cards removed. But people will be buying it because it's exactly the same thing. Like, it's something that people want at this very moment, but obviously you want the console, not the box. But it's just people are that excited to try and potentially see that they could be getting their hands on one that they're just misreading or just not reading it entirely, and that's how they're getting around it. But if eBay are clamping down on just the consoles, that for me is still missing the point entirely. Like, fair enough, it's still up to the buyer. It's entirely up to the buyer to read the description entirely. Don't get giddy because you think that you're going to get one for half the price or for face value, because it ain't going to happen. Like, things like that at this moment in time, unless it... I've seen one post, and it's the one that I mentioned last week, about someone buying one for the brother, but they're falling out, so they're selling it for face value. That is the only genuine post that I have seen, either on Facebook Marketplace or eBay or Gumtree or whatever it is, that you can buy stuff from. That is the only genuine one. Everyone else is trying to sell them for a profit at this moment in time. If it's too good to be true, it usually is. Remember that this holiday season, because you are going to waste a fuckload of money on absolutely nothing, and the chances of you getting your money back are as thin as I am.
It goes back to like about 20 years ago. There was a big thing on eBay, and it was probably one of the first eBay scams of people selling a cool little gadget that will cut all of your electric bills in half instantly. So people were like, okay, my electric bill is about £100 a month-ish. I don't know, I'm just picking numbers out of my ass, the round numbers. Okay, £100 a month, and this thing to cut all of my bills in half is £4.99. £5, and I can save myself £50. Yes, please. So people were doing it, sticking fiver down. And this person had like a list of 1,000 of these gadgets. Sold every one of these gadgets at £5 each, 1,000 of, £5,000 made. This little envelope drops through the door from eBay. People are like, fuck yes, I'm going to cut all my electric bills in half. Yeah! Open it up and it's a pair of scissors. Literally, you can cut all of your bills in half with that. Fuck, it's like, oh. I mean, that's only a fiver. That's fine. It then went further, though. People were charging like £100. £100. Yeah, it's more than it's your first month. But after 2 months, that's it. You're cutting all your bills in half. I mean, they didn't say that, but people took that sort of logic, thinking, okay, £100. Then it's £100 times 1,000, 100,000. Oh, boom! So these guys were making absolute incredible money, and then eBay had to step in. And it's technically true. There's nothing wrong with that, and it's the misleading purchase. I mean, this is where you do step into the legal grey areas, though, because eBay is private sales. But anything that you purchase, say if you purchase something online, that's classified legally as a distance purchase, and you have 14 days to get your money back as an online consumer. So that sort of stuff, I mean, that kind of almost needs to be, I mean, it's circumvented by eBay's system. It kind of almost needs to be considered in some sort of way. If it's not an ethical purchase, then can you then go through that sort of distance selling? I mean, that opens up a fresh can of worms, though, because what if I bought something I'm just a dickhead online, and I just think, actually, do you know what? I'm not asked, or I've damaged it and gone, oh yeah, oh no, so it's an unethical. I want my distance purchase regulations to get my money back. People will just start using it when it's not, kind of thing. So maybe that's not the right way, but eBay could do something to protect, because they have this system. The responsibility does sit on them to allow people to not exploit and be toxic within that system. People will always find a way to be twats, but eBay should minimize it where possible, and it's clearly a problem, so they should be able to step in there.
At this moment in time, though, buying off eBay, if you want a next gen console, just don't go into Facebook Marketplace. Like, Facebook Marketplace is very good for buying secondhand things that people no longer want, like golf clubs or video games or something like that. Don't be buying your next gen consoles that are fresh off the press from anything but reputable stores. And newsflash, eBay is not a reputable store when it comes to this stuff. Buy them from Game, from Amazon, from places that that you know are going to be fresh out the box and coming straight from Sony or Microsoft to these stores to be sold as brand new consoles. Do not buy them secondhand. Fair enough, you may end up missing them this Christmas, but I'm telling you now, saving yourself 550 quid for a picture of a console is a lot better waiting a month's time than trying to get one now. And that is just the long and short of it. Don't I know you're probably trying to rescue your kids' Christmas, or you're trying to rescue like your own sanity of trying to get hold of this console, but believe me, it's just not worth it. Wait, Very, Currys, Amazon, Game, Shop 2, the Game Collection, all of these places, especially if you're in the UK, these places will be trying to get you a console fresh off the press. Sign up to their newsletters, sign up to their email notifications, sign up to anything that you can to try and get a console as soon as they're available. Please do not try to go to Facebook Marketplace, eBay, or Gumtree to try and get hold of these. Otherwise, you're just making yourself an absolute dick.
I mean,
as
you
well as losing a lot of money.
Can do that. You can go to Facebook Marketplace and eBay and things like that. We wouldn't recommend it, but you could, in theory, still find someone on Facebook that's not ripping the ass out of someone. But even then, don't send you money. Pick. I mean, obviously, social distancing. Don't see anyone that you don't have to anyway. But forgetting social distance stuff aside, pick it up in person, check it, have a demonstration, pay cash, make sure that you have a good course of recompense. You know where they live, you know how to get your money back should it all go wrong, and all of that bullshit. All of the stuff that Gumtree and co would say. Do stuff in person and pay cash rather than paying online, because you'll get the phone jacker George Adedwengo kind of things where it's like, yeah, I'm just going to send you 10,000 Ugandan dollars if you just want to send me the PS5 and yoink, and it's not, fuck, it's all gone. So yeah, they are still viable options, but as Baby says, the chances of them being a solid first port of call, one that's not going to either leave you fleeced or whatever now, is very, very slim. The chances that you are probably going to be rinsed. Tito says, some have specs of the console. Oh, as soon as I said that, it pops out the top of the chat. Some have specs of the console listed. That would be misleading. If they say photo and make no reference to specs, then yeah, technically it's on the buyer, but it's damaging to eBay brand. Exactly. I mean, see, that I'm on board with. I'm on board with that, Tito. If you're talking specs, surely you should be telling me about the caliber of the paper. I mean, what size are we talking? A4? How many millimeters is that length and width? I mean, what is it? I mean, I can't remember any of the technical terms from working alongside print teams previously, but I mean, tell me all the intricacies about the fibers within the paper. If you want to talk tech specs, then that's what you should be talking about. If you're telling me that it's an 895 gigabyte console with a hard drive and an SSD and a disk drive and a blah 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 blah, then yeah, that is just, you are blinding me. That is the illusion. That's like a magician saying, hey, look at me, look at this hand, yeah, look at this hand, yeah, look at all the things it does with the flashing lights, and keep looking at the hand, and what you don't see is the other hand's doing something else. It is misleading in that sense. So I agree with that. I mean, it's there's the trade-off legality wise. Do you know, I don't even know, actually. I don't even know. Thinking with all of that considered, on paper, if you say it's just paper, then the law would say, well, it's clear. But it's the fact that there's pictures of other stuff. It's the fact that it's got unnecessary extra information about a product that is only being photographed. You don't need that sort of information. If you buy a picture of Mona Lisa, They're not going to say Mona Lisa sat there in a black dress that's actually 78% polyester, 12% nylon, and the rest cotton. You can see there is a white trim. It's actually not bright white. It's actually magnolia white. And they don't go into the detail of what she's wearing and how that's manufactured because it's a picture. So yeah, I agree. It is there to be misleading. It is there. I mean, I think in reality, in the court of law, a suitable judge might go, actually, there is a lot of misleading going on in that, so we'll just throw this out. That said, I mean, you have to go to a fucking proper sitting through judge that's going to go through all that to get to that. Reality, when it's low level stuff like that, it'd be just like that. Yeah, it's fine. It says what it is. Fuck off. So yeah. eBay getting squashy, job's good. Bush. How long till we get lawyer ads and cold calls? Have you been sold, missold a PS5 instead of PPI? just like loads of people on like ITV2 midday time with combo face. It was going to be a really nice Christmas in the house, and then the PS5 was actually a brick. Just like there's a camera pans down to a brick just on the floor, a kid crying. Image turns to black and white as the mum and dad look sad. Have no fear, ICU law is here. Thomas Adam, morning lads. Good morning, dude. Welcome in. I thought you were better than that, Graham. Unsubscribed. Is that me falling for the listing? To be fair, to give credit to me, some of the listings are really good in terms of like really clever in the way that they hide the truth inside the rest of the stuff. This one was just someone that was blatantly selling you the DVDs and just had the word genuine copies in one line of it. The rest of it was pictures of the DVDs, boxes, and everything, the inserts and so on. So that's why I got my money back straight away. Get the fuck out of here. If it had been a better faker, then yeah, maybe not. But yeah, no. eBay needs to add more to stop this shit from happening. It's basically the same for years. And although eBay say they are against stuff like this, it still seems they don't want it as it's bad publicity. But they want it as it's more traffic and sales. Yeah, that's the thing, though. The thing they need to be aware of is whilst it is better in getting traffic and sales, what that does is puts you off for the future. If eBay becomes known as a place for scammers and fraudulent knobheads, then you'll stop going there. And yes, they will still keep churning money over, but their profit margins will start to drop. And if I don't know how eBay is operated, if it's a company that has shareholders, that will start to have an impact before the company goes bust completely. So every missold customer now is a customer lost in the future potentially. So yeah, it's not just the bad publicity, it's the potential for lost bottom line as well going forward. It increases your bottom line in the short term. It's a very short term view to just maximize sales. So it's something that I would see them wanting to be on top of, particularly with them being a very like forward thinking ideological company in Silicon Valley kind of thing. I'd expect them to be. I mean, any company that's called eBay because it's based in the Bay Area should be forward thinking and shouldn't be about ripping the shit out of you. It's the same with the shit from Hong Kong. Oh, look, The Last of Us 2 for £5. Results? Oh, postage and packaging is 45 quid. I had a mate at uni that did that. He bought himself a digital camera, and like the spec on it was incredible. And he's like, it's literally $7.99. It's $7.99. No one else has bid. It's just me. $7.99. Yes! And he won it. And I remember being sat there in the library trying to attempt to do one of my essays. Clearly not. Probably just playing fucking, I don't know, tennis on the BBC Sport website or whatever when they used to have a little Wimbledon game. Anyway, proper working hard. And he was like, oh, shit. So I was like, what? He's like, the fucking delivery is like 110 quid. He was like, what? He's like, yeah, I see it now. And that was when delivery used to be no charge on it. eBay, you only used to take the fees off of the product and not the delivery, so you got a lot of that stuff. It happens less often now, but it still does happen. I have to do the same being dyslexic. I read the description 3 or 4 times. Then if I'm still not sure if I've understood, I just leave it. So I've both possibly avoided a scam or missed a deal. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. More often than not, if you have something that's too good to be true, as Bibby says, the long coined phrase, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. It probably is. Dazlon says stuff. I don't know what that says. Do you know what? It's the first time I get to use this though. ! English. Bosh! Yay!
I've seen him now put in it in PUBG streams before.
Yeah,
He's a good lad. He's just a Russian lad, isn't he?
Yeah, I think I
difficult.
spoke to him in Russian. He was asking me something. I can't remember what it was. He said something in Russian, and I said it. I don't know if I pronounced what he said. I can't quite remember. What did you say? I mean, was privet? Was that? I can't remember. But yeah, we did set up an English thing just because we did have a few other people. But yeah, obviously, I mean that looks like something about coconuts, so I don't know what that means. But yeah, how's things, Dazzlon? Hope you're good. So yeah, eBay will be cracking down. I'd like to see how that works out though, because as we've all kind of just discussed over the last 20 minutes or so, it's not going to be easy to do. It's there's a lot of grey area. Some of it is very obvious, some of it less so. But hopefully to get it sorted quickly, because the sooner we get rid of the dicks, the better. Anyway, next news article. As mentioned, we won't be going too far from the blue side of video games as we stick with the PS5 and not just eBay, but all sales in general. As Andy Robinson at VGC the article says, sources. PS5 was the UK's biggest ever console launch. Launch sales far exceeded the previous 250k record set by PS4. VGC understands. PlayStation 5 has broken the record for the UK's biggest ever console launch, VGC understands. According to publishing sources speaking to VGC, launch sales for Sony's console far exceeded the UK's previous record holder, 2013's PlayStation 4, which sold some 250,000 units in its first 48 hours. It means PS5 significantly outsold the launch of Xbox Series X and S in the region, which VGC previously reported had sold around 155,000 units on their first day. The most popular PS5 model at launch was the more expensive Disk Drive Edition, VGC understands, which, like Series X, accounted for around 2/3 of UK launch sales. However, the sales figures come with some caveats. Due to significant supply constraints for both Xbox Series X and S and PS5, the consoles would likely have sold even better if more stock was available. Similarly, any additional stock during the launch window for either Xbox Series X, S, or PS5 will almost certainly sell out, especially considering that pre-orders made up the vast majority of current hardware sales, limiting the number of units available to day one buyers. The platform holder which sells most consoles in the coming months will almost certainly be the one which can get the most stock into the market. Sony Interactive Entertainment has so far not shared any sales figures for PS5. However, last week it claimed that globally PS5 had recorded the biggest console launch sales in history, suggesting that it sold more than the 2 million global record previously set by PS4. Sony has previously said it expects to sell over 7.6 million PS5 units by the end of the fiscal year on March 31st, 2021, outperforming PS4's launch for the same period. Supply issues are expected to continue for Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 due to the impact of COVID-19. Blah, 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 blah. We understand. Okay, fine. PS5 was the UK's biggest ever console launch. Big thoughts?
I would have liked to have seen, I know it's comparing to the last generation as well, but I would have liked to have seen how many of these were pre-orders for the PlayStation 4 compared to the PlayStation 5. Because I think this time round, because of coronavirus and the fact that there wasn't that many going to be around, and I say that many, I mean, if coronavirus wasn't a thing this year, would they have sold more, or is this a Sony marketing ploy to try and build up hype to the console? So obviously I pre-ordered it, you pre-ordered it, a lot of the shaggers in the chat have pre-ordered it because that was the only opportunity that they would have been able to get hold of them. I know Asim loved a good midnight launch, so did you, so did Gary, so did some of the other lads in the chat. But if this was available on a midnight launch, would you have gone in to pick it up at midnight?
On launch day?
Yes.
No, because I got it already pre-ordered. Oh, no, joking.
If you had the opportunity, because bearing in mind, pre-ordering it to go and pick up on a midnight launch, even then on a PS4, still required you to go in, kind of pre-order it, put a £5 deposit down, and then pick it up. We won't count that as a pre-order. We'll just count that as still picking it up on launch day.
There's a couple of caveats that need to be ironed out before I could give an answer. Like, would I go and pick it up at midnight? Would I be expecting there to be none left at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning? okay, that would make me more likely to go. Would I be able to put in my reservation to be able to pick it up at midnight, but still be able to go pick it up at 10 o'clock? If I'd reserved it and it meant that I could either pick it up at midnight or go in the morning, then I'm not too bothered. I'd have picked it up in the morning. I wouldn't have necessarily gone for midnight. If there was no reservation and they were probably all going to be gone at 9-10 o'clock in the morning, then yeah, possibly. I'm not far from the Trafford Centre, so I could in 5 minutes be pretty much 10 minutes. I'll be walking through the door of the Trafford Centre. So large shop, lots of stock, probably a shitload of people there, but I wouldn't be against that, and I'm usually well past midnight anyway. So yeah, that's neither here nor there. A midnight launch is not really like some surprising effort. A lot of people that aren't in video games are like, you go into a shop at midnight? It's like, literally, I'm sat on my couch playing Spider-Man for another 2 hours on top of that. So what's the difference? So yeah, it's fine. I mean, going to a midnight launch in that sort of sense, I haven't done it forever, but I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't necessarily, that wouldn't be where I'd anticipate me picking my console up. It's, I don't feel the midnight launches have the same character that they used to have back in the day. It's definitely something that's functional for me now. So I wouldn't be against using it as a functional way to get my hands on a PS4, PS5 even. But yeah, I'm more likely, partially because I'm an old man, but partially because midnight launches, as I mentioned, are the same character. I'd be more likely to pre-order it and want it to be delivered to my house on day one.
Okay, so changing the goalposts, moving them slightly. What about if, forget about the midnight launch, if this was a 10 a.m. launch and you can, all the pre-orders are sold out? Okay, there wasn't as many as we've got now, obviously, because of coronavirus. The majority of them went to pre-orders anyway, rather than day one stock. Pre-orders sold out. They only had 25% available to pre-orders, and you missed out. So you are one of the 75% now that has to try and require a day one purchase at 10 a.m. Would you still be the person that goes up and tries to get in queue for this? Bearing in mind, there is no pre-orders at all, so you can't go into the shop and reserve one. You have to go in and pick it up.
Yeah, I think I'd be well on board for that. 10 a.m. I mean, obviously, work and life considered around it. Let's say they weren't objects. Then yeah, I absolutely wouldn't be against just nipping into town, getting there for 9:15, grab myself a Starbucks, get there about half an hour early, realise I'm already 3,000 places too deep and it's too late. Then walk back home with my flat white gutted. But yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't be against going and picking one up either. I probably wouldn't do it in advance enough to make sure that I was first in the queue or whatever. It depends. I mean, I don't know what the idea is about it. Some midnight launches you could turn up at 5 to midnight and then the queue would only just be forming. Some you could turn up at 10 o'clock and then there'd already be people there with chairs. I mean, obviously, there's that. Is he called Zohaib Ali? Maybe I've got his name wrong, but there's a guy in London that was famous for picking up like all the PlayStation consoles from Oxford Street Game or whatever it was. The first one sold in the UK multiple times, and he was there for hours or days beforehand. That's a little bit too much for me. But yeah, getting there half an hour early with my phone and a brew. Yeah, I can chill for half an hour. That's fine. Job's a good one. So yeah, I wouldn't be against going to pick one up. That said, obviously, slightly different world, COVID and this that, and the other. But yeah, we're ignoring that in this sense. So yeah, I wouldn't be against going out and picking one up at launch.
Yeah, that's it. I do like the fact that obviously we did have the opportunity to pre-order them this year. But is this an anomaly now? Are we going to see the next generation? Is it going to be like 75% pre-order, 25% day one? Like, the reason I ask all of these hypothetical questions is because I think this year has obviously moved the way on which we're going to try and buy stuff. I mean, the last time I got a PS4, I was day one, but again, it was through a very small pre-order that I got, and I can't even remember how I got it. It could have been Very that I ended up getting it from last time, because no one thinks of going to Very. But again, this year I managed to get it, but it was a lot lower pre-order stock than it was going into the shop to go and pick it up. So have times changed now where people don't want to be queuing up outside regardless of the time, to be able to go and pick it up when you know at some point you can get it delivered. The pros and cons is, do you want to play it as for the first second that you're available to, or do you mind? Well, like yours turned up like 3 hours after mine for the pre-order, and then I think Hussam delivered Asim's at like fucking 10 o'clock in the morning. Do you know what I mean? So The delivery times are obviously completely
Asim's
skewed.
already 100%ed in Platinum Dastrobot before mine's even turned up. Fuck's sake. I mean, the world has definitely moved on. Like, pre-ordering was not a thing before. Like, I remember, like, pre-orders. For those that know Jelly Media and that know the management team at Jelly Media, you may know Mark and Lee. They are the founders of Jelly Media, which is the company behind Ice Cream Uploads, and they used to work together in game, and they used to do pre-orders before pre-orders were a thing. They were like trendsetters in game, so they used to go, "Oh, you want the new copy of Pez or Pro Evo or whatever game it was that they were selling at that point in time? Put £1 down, and we will get you stock reserved." And that was back in the day where the stores used to order how many units of the games that they would want. So they would say, HQ would say, okay, how many copies of Pez do you want? Let's stick with Pez. Pez 5. We've got the Bradford store. They want 20 copies. The Central London store want 60 copies. How many do you guys in your Preston store want? And they were like, 150 copies. And it's like, you're never going to sell 150 copies. It's like, we've already sold 120 copies, so you get me the 150 and I bet we sell them. So, and that was because they put the £1 sort of deposit pre-ordering stuff down. That was back in the day. It wasn't really heard of. You got cheeky little stores that did their own sort of in-store setup stuff. It didn't really happen. And obviously that became more and more prominent. It's still, I think it's fair to say, it still wasn't properly in place for PS4. I mean, it definitely was, but not to the extent that it is now. We've got so much more aware of pre-ordering games and hardware as well. It used to be a case of you'd have to go and pick it up in the shop, because if you wanted to order it online, you'd have to wait until the stock was put live for purchase. So that's part of the reason for midnight launches. You couldn't pre-order it to get there for day one. You could buy it on day one, which meant you'd get it 2, 3, 4 days later, depending on postage. So that's definitely a big shift towards it. I think that plus this year, COVID not having the ability to go out and people not wanting to go out, that will have put a lot more on it. Plus the fact that COVID and the build up to release on top of last year's last generation's issues with sales and stuff. I think that's just pushed a lot more people to do the land grab of shit. I know I can get it now. I will do that now, which is why everything just sold out instantly in pre-orders.
Yeah.
Gary Clark says, "Cat! Legend!"
Yeah, she's on the windowsill. She'll make her way over it. And now she's just being a nosy bitch because she's heard someone outside.
Let me jump back through the chat, because the chat has scrolled a little. Burp, excuse me. Out of the 250,000 sold, Asim says about 249,000 of those went to scalpers. Yes. And then resold on eBay. Well, pictures of them resold on eBay many, many times. Robo Daniel, welcome back. He says, I am very late. Hello, welcome in. Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing? How are you doing? Happy December. Amazing from Sony, but my only issue with it is the fact that most of those numbers are for scalpers and just sitting there. Yep. Heartbreaking. James says still sold though. Good, touche.
Yeah,
of course, but it still puts a red flag on its success regardless of how you look at it. Those numbers could be inflated because of scalpers and the hype surrounding the console. On a serious note, they would have definitely sold more in the UK if they had the units close to 400k. I reckon so. I absolutely reckon so. There was a comment, was it in the article there, that said the chances are the console that will sell the most by the end of the year. If you're asking which one's better, the PlayStation or the Xbox, green or blue, which side of the console war are you on? Which one's the best? Which one will sell the most? Simply put, the one that will sell the most is the one that can sell the most. They will both sell out. Yes, one might sell more than the other, and yeah, it might be significant, like the last generation. But if PlayStation outsold Xbox 2-1 in the last generation, but Xbox can get 2-1 in terms of consoles right now, the Xbox will outsell by the end of the year. It's simple supply and demand. There is so much demand and not enough supply. 250,000 is nowhere near the number in terms of demand right now. So yeah, I think they would have still sold. I think that 250k would have definitely still sold, even without the scalpers. I think scalpers have added to the supply and demand issue, because obviously the demand stays the same, but the supply goes down, which means the market can be skewed heavily by that. But yeah, I think Asim is probably more right in terms of closer to 500,000 consoles. If they could have had that level of production, I definitely think they'd have sold a lot more than they already have done, which has got to be a bittersweet thing. They are absolutely rolling in profit, but there must be a little bit of not guilt, but just that niggling feeling in the back of your head saying, we could have been absolutely rolling in dosh, like Scrooge McDuck like jumping off of ledges and just not diving into coins, just flatting on top of them because there's no way you'd be able to dive into coins. But there you go.
I'll give another hypothetical question. This is one that I think the chat might be able to throw their opinion in on as well. Do you think then that coronavirus did obviously play a big part in production of trying to get these consoles out, and they have stopped at a certain amount so that they can try and build hype towards Christmas for another potential because we already had a pre-release, post-release. So there's been 2 waves of consoles that have been sent out, with a third potentially scheduled to be this month as well. Do you reckon that was a place to try and stagger the release to try and build up more hype and drum up more hype? Or it was literally down to production value, due to production and not being able to get as many out as potentially wanted to?
I mean, I don't have expert knowledge. All I do is have what I think may be a logical answer, but could be completely flawed. I believe that they aren't trying to vault it in certain ways. I believe that they're just trying to spaff out as much as they can. And the reason I say that is because we covered an article last year, or earlier this year, that detailed that a PS4 Pro can be manufactured in 30 seconds. From start to finish, across the production line, 30 seconds. And you can tell by how often mine overheats. Nice. However, PS4 Pro, 30 seconds. PlayStation manufacturing was confirmed to have been shut down entirely for a number of weeks, or maybe even months. Maybe might have been up to 2 months when it all started kicking off. It being coronavirus, and obviously, when back in the days where Donald Trump was still getting away with calling it the China virus, because obviously that was the area that was massively impacted. A lot of production does come from China, so there was conversations about whether those items would be let into the US, whether the virus could live on services and things like that. In that sort of time period, all of their warehouses and factories and everything was shut down. If a console can be, let's say it takes 30 seconds to a minute. Let's say it takes a minute for a PS5. Bigger console, twice as big, massive, huge, looks like a house. It takes longer. Okay, 60 seconds. If that warehouse or that manufacturing plant is shut down for a week, that's a shit load of consoles that are shut down. Shut it down for a month, 2 months, that's a lot missing. So I think that could have a massive impact on it. But there's also the thing that, how do they get them over? This is where my assumptions are thrown in. Feel free to pick it apart if you have the facts. I would say, okay, you have PlayStations there put in boxes are put on pallets are put in containers are stuck on cruise liners or whatever. And cruise liners have to go from one part geographically to the other part. So from China to, I'm assuming it'll go straight into port in the UK, then has to be dropped off and then taken to wherever areas to put it into the logistics chain to get it distributed and sent to their final destinations. That journey in itself, I imagine they don't just have a constant string of ferries like buses, one after the other. They just basically fill one up and then they book in the next one and they fill them one up. I imagine maybe that's why we're getting them in batches. I don't know. So that's where my thought process would be: is they were behind and then now they're catching up and they're trying to just get as many out as fast as they can to get them moving. But I think it would be a mistake if you have a monopoly on a market. Then fair enough, you can strangle your supply chain as much as you want. But when there is another brand on the other side of the console war, which is not a war, by the way, it shouldn't be. If there is another brand competing in the same space, you would be foolish to limit your reach. So I don't think they are throwing it out in batches like that. I think it's just a case of they're spitting it out as fast as they can, and it's not fast enough, which gives that impression. That's my thoughts on it. What do you guys think? What do you think, Bib?
I don't know. Yeah. Pass. I was more interested in comments. Asim's comment. Not saying that yours wasn't interesting. I was just my train of thought got thrown out the way, thrown out the window, because the console game was supposed to be dead. Fair enough. There was a lot of PC Master Race stuff over the last couple of years. I genuinely thought that console gaming, that Sony and Microsoft may get into something else. Not in terms of bringing out a new console, but just finding different ways of trying to make gaming accessible. Very much like what Microsoft's done with the Game Pass stuff, though. But PC gaming was supposed to be dead. I've never even considered that, because for me, PC gaming has always and still is the pinnacle when it comes to gaming. And that isn't just a PC Master Race statement, because my gaming PC is nowhere near as good as my PlayStation 5 now. It's just PC gaming was always seen as the the best place to play video games. And 9 times out of 10, it genuinely is. And the only people that will tend to disagree with that are usually people who don't have gaming PCs, or never owned one or played games on one for that instance. But I mean, having a console is accessible for everyone. Having a gaming PC, mine isn't as good as it used to be because I haven't updated the parts in it. So like my CPU is a little bit lagging behind now. My graphics card is lagging behind. But in terms of playing games, it actually is. So I would never have come to the conclusion that PC gaming was ever going to die.
I mean, PC gaming I would say, is the healthiest it's ever been. I mean, there was arguments that console gaming could disappear because PC gaming is on the rise. PCs are becoming bigger, better, much more accessible. The idea of changing components out, PCs are more component-esque these days.
Yeah.
You can just buy stuff that can plug and play much easier than it used to be a million years ago. So console gaming is just a box. Surely you don't even need the box when the box can run on the PC. So we'll see PlayStation and Xbox moving to the PC. So yeah, anyone that says these things are dying are people that are trying to think industry trends. We do like to see less things. We want more things, but less of it. We want to be able to do more things with less things utilized. We want convergence. Everything that we do, but in one place. I want to be able to shop online. I want to be able to call my friends. I want to be able to send pictures. I want to be able to take photography and da-da-da-da. Oh, we have smartphones. Everything in one place. The idea a million years ago was that's it. Consoles are going to die. Mobile phones now can give you video games. Why would you need a console? I have a really good mobile phone in my hand. Yeah, ta-da! I also have a console that's going to piss all over it, and this is last generation. That's my PS5 Pro, and it will absolutely wipe the floor with my mobile phone in terms of what I want from video games. So yeah, it's good to see. As Asim says, it was an insanely good time to be a gamer. Absolutely. Mobile gaming is incredible if it's what you want from gaming. Console gaming is incredible if it's what you want from gaming, as is PC, as is Switch, as is in-browser flash games, whatever you want for enjoyment. Do you know what? Sorry, not even that. Cards. If you play cards, and that's where you get your enjoyment. None of it is dead whenever, as long as people want it, and people clearly still want it more than they've ever wanted it before. As the PS5 was the UK's biggest launch console ever. So,
well, that's obviously why Nvidia brought out 3 different types of graphics cards. Do you want the biggest and best? That's 1,800 quid. Do you want an entry level? That's 500 quid. Do you want something that toes the line in between? That's 800 quid. So there is more than enough options out there PC wise. I know this is coming to like a PC, Xbox, PlayStation debate, but I think nowadays, when it comes to PC gaming, it just is a lot more expensive, let's be honest. Like, even if you used to buy an entry-level graphics card, chances are you may have to update your CPU to get the best out of it. Then you have to add a stick of RAM to try and get the best out of that so it doesn't bottleneck. There's just a lot of other things that go on around the PC gaming. But if you just want a console that you want to just plug into your TV and have at it, then that's absolutely the way for you to be able to go after it.
See, what that says to me is that gaming in general is thriving, be that multiplayer or tangent single player, which leads into our next article. Before we do jump into the next article, though, I just wanted to get the nice cheesy tangent, and I will jump back through the comments because there was quite a bit said. James, in response to Gary's comment, says, "Oh yeah, I know what you mean. I was only joking. Sony won't care as it's money in their pockets, which is unfortunate for. My God, the chat's disappearing." Which is unfortunate for us customers. If scalpers hadn't have got them, I still think it would just be as great selling. James also said, "I used to love midnight launches. Worked for you, was fun. I would have done had I been able to for the PS5. Yeah, I imagine a lot of people would have done. If a shop was the only way to get it, yeah, I'd have gone to my local game begrudgingly." Says Asim. I agree. I'm sure the sales would have been very high, close to what they are, but the scalper situation definitely changes things. Oh yeah, I agree with that. In the words of Sean Bean from Sharp, bastards. All in all, happy we live in an online world when it comes to this kind of thing. Pre-order an online, get on the day, forget queuing and shit. Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing for me is love that. It's just obviously the system isn't built for the intensity that we have. So if we can fix that, yeah, that'd be nice. But yeah, do you know what? It's a nice problem to have. It's a nice problem to have. Not for everyone, but obviously. KC Dice, thank you very much for the follow 2 minutes ago. Very much appreciate. Welcome into the stream. There we go. We're catching up now. We're getting Cat Legend. Cat. The The crazy thing is that the PS5 had more units at launch than the PS4, and console gaming is dead, apparently. I know, imagine. The global pandemic had to cause issues as the factories that were making them were closed for months in the summer. Console gaming was supposed to be... Oh, we've done that one. Many companies had problems. Switch was suffering in the summer as well. COVID has had a big impact. But it's Christmas. All companies always do hype and sell out, yeah. I don't know about mass marketing, but when I've gotten stuff from AliExpress, they ship by pallet load, but they wait until each pallet reaches a minimum weight before it goes to cut the cost. That way the shipping times have such a big window to them. Yeah, that's true. Afternoon, chaps, which is what Bibbs shouted out. Welcome in, Swish. How's things, dude? Are you good? You good? Daniel says gaming is bigger than the other entertainment formats combined. Absolutely.
Yep.
Huge.
People who aren't into gaming, though, will never, ever, ever accept that. You try and tell that to someone in your family that doesn't play video games. They're like, nah, surely TV and media, going to the cinema, surely that brings in more money. It's like, nope.
I love how ignorant those statements are. Yeah, but you can go to the cinema and you can enjoy a film there with your friends. And it's like, okay, you can go to the cinema, sit in a seat that's not your own, that's not moulded to your own ass crescents. Yeah. Pay
you can't walk to your own fridge and get yourself a snack.
Pay £7 for that one drink of Coke that's 98% water, by the way. And then, tell me how good that is while I sit there in the comfort of my own butt grooves, playing with my friends. More of them than the one that you're going to the cinema with, because they're all just sat home and accessing everything together. Yeah, running crews or playing squads or whatever. Yeah, tell me how good that experience is and your very shallow... small-mindednesses. Yeah, tell me more. Kermit meme. Think PC gaming wasn't great for a while because nothing really happened in the past. Now all of a sudden things have massively accelerated and made gaming more exciting again on PC. Console gaming will never die, I don't think. Do you know, I think I agree with some of that. PC gaming was always exceptional for PC gamers. PC gaming has been made more accessible, so people don't need to be IT professionals to understand how good and how accessible and how much you can get from PC gaming. There's a much easier entry point into PC gaming, and not even entry route, or maybe that's not even the right phrase. You used to have to know a lot more to be a PC gamer in the past than you do now. I mean, that's not even factoring in custom builds and getting people to pre-build custom PCs and things like that, which makes it even better even still. But yeah, it's so much easier now. And the fact that things like, as Bibi mentioned, you're getting Nvidia and AMD having their own conferences about their hardware and things like that, to the scale of the PlayStation conference and the Xbox conference. That didn't used to happen, which means there's more marketing as well as it being an easier option for people to jump in. They're different barriers for entry that have been taken away. Awareness, easier opt-in, jobs are good. This was what I was referring to. PC gaming was seen as stagnant for a bit, but man, it's booming again. Last few years, great. Future looks incredible. Exactly. No worries, lad. Thanks, dude. Yet narrow-minded people still see it as for kids. Gaming. Yeah, absolutely. It's for the children and people that have bad health and sit in the mum's basements and are never going to get a real job. That's all it's for. Yeah, all right, mate. Yeah, all right, nice one. I build a PC over getting a PS5. PS5 definitely would have been cheaper. And that's it. I mean, there's positives and negatives for both of them. Absolutely. Both of them completely, not completely interchangeable, but very similar and very different at the same time. I recommend the book.
I suppose it's all down to it. Sorry, go on.
I've only got 3 more comments to jump through, and then we're all caught up again. So Daniel says, I recommend the book Why We Play. Do you have a link? Drop a link. I can't wait. I'll be upgrading mine when I can. CPU is like 6 years old. This coming gen for console and PCs in the coming years is just going to be immense. I mean, I just want 3080. I mean, I've only got an i7-8700, but I just want 3080 because... Amen. PS5 Xbox shipments restocks are going to be a nightmare post-Brexit. I've got a shipment full of stock that's still stuck on a boat in Southampton waiting to clear customers. It's been there for weeks. Nightmare. Anyway, sorry, what were you saying, babe?
Just saying that if you can swing the money, then absolutely PC gaming is the way to it. If you used to buy the entry level, the medium stuff, like 700 quid, I think it was for the Nvidia one. And obviously, if you've got an up-to-date CPU and your RAM and everything else can take it and is compatible, then I would always go for the graphics card. But I mean, a lot of my friends still play PlayStation, so when I'm playing on PC, chances are I'm usually playing on my own. It's just games that I've just got in my Steam library that I'm just whacking my way through. But when it comes to playing on my PlayStation, I'm usually playing a multiplayer game of sorts, whether or not it be Fortnite, Pro Evo, or whatever multiplayer COD game it is at the time. So it all depends on what your preference is, and that's what video games has always come down to. Were you a SNES guy, or was you a Mega Drive guy? Was you a Sega Saturn guy, or was you a Dreamcast guy? It's always been that way. So it's just whatever you can either A, afford, or B, did want to get out of it, whether or not it's multiplayer, single player, or the exclusives that come with the console.
Just opened up the link from Daniel. Why were you playing? Anthropological study. I might give that a look over. Thanks, mate. Okay, I'm going to jump forward because we are overrunning a little now. So I'll jump into the article that I did tease briefly. I'll take discussing down now and then bring that one.
Okay, see Dyson Swoosh with the follows as well. Legends.
Hey, I mean, I did shout at Dice. I didn't notice Swoosh though, so GG's, dude. Thank you very much. This article, though, written by Tom Ivan at VGC, says leaked PlayStation research suggests that single player is thriving. PS4 users regularly spend more time playing offline than online. Internal Sony Interactive Entertainment documentation distributed to developers in 2019 suggested PS4 users regularly spent more time playing offline than online. I can certainly say that definitely wasn't the case for me. But single player is thriving, Sony said in a presentation obtained by Vice, which shines some light on the platform holders' ongoing commitment to story-based games. I just want to caveat, actually. I said I definitely played more time online than offline, but I still definitely have a lot of time for single player. Jumping back in then. However, research conducted by Sony also highlighted several issues to its players encountered with single-player games, findings which appear to have been influential in the creation of PlayStation 5's new activities feature. Sony listed 4 key problems players reported experiencing. They were not knowing how long they need to achieve in-game goals, the amount of time it takes to locate solutions in online help videos, how to engage socially without encountering spoilers, and forgetting what they were doing the last time they played and struggling to re-engage. See, the last one is the biggest issue for me there. Just going to branch off for just a second. I'm currently playing through Spider-Man Remastered. The last game I played was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. The last single-player game I played. No, I didn't. I actually played Resident Evil after that as well. But that's the last one that comes to mind with this, because I stopped playing for about 2 weeks and I was like, oh shit, what was I up with? And then I had to jump back into it and kind of thing. And actually, another example, Mafia. Me and Danielle have been playing through Mafia on stream when we've had time in amongst other things. And that was the one that was always an issue for me. It's like, oh, what did I do? And the worst thing is when I'm streaming, I can't multitask. So when I'm on stream, trying to remember what I've done in the previous stream can be quite difficult. So I'm often talking to the stream whilst playing the game, loving it life, but just not absorbing it. The information's just washing over me and it's gone, so I can't remember what I'm up to. So I'm having to reread what I'm doing before I go into it. So that's good to see that they've picked up on that. Anyway, jumping back in, Sony says PS5's activities features has been designed to remove barriers to gameplay. It enables users to jump straight into specific levels or challenges, suggest how long these will take to complete, and offers hints about how to progress when stuck, all without needing to leave the game. PlayStation boss Jim Ryan said in June 2019 that the company would never walk away from story-based first-party games. Do you know what? We can pause that there. That's fine. We wouldn't expect a company that has God of War Ragnarok on the horizon and Horizon Forbidden West on the horizon to ever walk away from story-based games. It's kind of a no-brainer. But believe it or not, single-player games are thriving. Would you have thought that, Bib?
Yes, I would actually. This is something that we've talked about quite a few times this year. I love the fact that we're starting to come full circle now. I don't want to say multiplayer games have reached its absolute peak. It just seems to be all regurgitated shite. Like, we're getting the same kind of battle royale games. There is no battle royale games that are coming out that are changing the way that people play them. It's the same with multiplayer games. When you go into a multiplayer COD game, you're faced with the same options that you was 15, 16 years ago. There's nothing that's really pushing the envelope about how we play multiplayer games, which makes me think that people are starting to not get bored of them, but just looking for something else. Now, with the games that we've had recently over the years, first player experiences, where either it'll be a beloved franchise like Star Wars or something like Days Gone, Spider-Man, Not the new Marvel game, because obviously that was absolutely fucking toilet.
Just become best friends.
But just new experiences that people can get involved in. The best games are the ones that make you feel like you're watching it and playing it rather than just being talked to. That said, there is definitely a place in the video game realm for games like The Last Hope or Until Dawn and games like that. The Walking Dead series, the Telltale stuff. There was always places for those games, which are games I absolutely adore. However, getting involved in experiences, like at the moment I'm playing Days Gone, I really can't put it. I had to go to bed last night early because I stayed up the previous 3 nights playing it till stupid in the morning. But I just don't ever want to put the pad down when I'm playing it. And I think that's what people are starting to crave now. Games like Astro Bot that's just come out, that's changed the way that we play platformers with this new DualSense controller. Those are all experiences that people want.
I would never jump back in and finish off the 100% Astro Bot after finishing it, ever. And I did. I was like, go on, let's jump in. I mean, partially that was because Spider-Man Remastered was installing and I needed something to do. But I could have jumped on and played some PUBG while it was installing. But instead I thought, I've done my daily missions. I might as well just, let's finish that. So I jumped in, finished that, and then played some Spider-Man anyway. Jumping through the chat, I see a lot of mixed messages. Loads of people have PCs, some have PlayStations, so we do have quite a mixed audience, which is good. We like the fact that we have numerous voices. We don't want everyone just to be, we are an Xbox channel or we are a PC Master Race channel. We play games, and it doesn't matter where from or how. I mean, if you play your games, that's fine. I'll play my games, that's fine. If it's the same, wonderful. If it's different, also wonderful. I also want to shout out Wicked Slippers as well, because that is a name and a half. Thank you very much for the follow.
Wicked Slippers, I absolutely love that.
It is. I mean, do you know what? To be fair, I mean, I'm sat here with my pajama pants on and some Wicked slippers. So yes, nice. Previous Christmas present, Ugg slippers. I mean, would never recommend spending my own money on Ugg slippers for myself, but Daniel bought me them as a present, so I didn't have to spend the money, and they are the best slippers that I have ever put my feet inside ever. So there you go. Expensive, but by God,
easy dubs then.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a number of comments about PlayStation having some strong single-player games. Swoosh mentions The Last of Us. Yeah, there's so many strong single-player games. It doesn't surprise me that it is thriving. I mean, there has been some advances in terms of multiplayer. Baby mentioned multiplayer previously, like in terms of people are looking for different experiences. I mean, we have had some huge stuff over the last few years. The battle royale genre is a completely different idea of multiplayers, and then having the rise of party games this year, in particular with Fall Guys and Among Us, which is I'd say more of a social game than a party game, but the idea, you know, I'm getting at. So the multiplayer definitely offers stuff, but people always want different experiences, and technically you are restricted to certain things that you can do with multiplayer, or if not technically, at least imaginatively. Someone just needs to create a mental concept that we can play out through consoles, which is easier said than done. So that's the reason why a lot of games play the same sort of way. Single player allows you to just play the same sort of way, but the whole narrative around it is different, which gives you a completely different experience. So there will absolutely continue to be a life for single player games. Yes, a lot of streamers that you watch might be competitive gamers. Yes, they might play multiplayer games because they are, I don't know, live service or continued service games, or something that they can have as their bread and butter game that they can play continuously, day in, day out, 8 hours a day. Yeah, single player doesn't necessarily live into that for one game. So it's an echo chamber comment, particularly from people that digest content from content creators. I know there is a sense of irony in me saying that while we're streaming live on Twitch. I know. But yeah, content creator audiences tend to buy into a game, and that's usually, if someone is playing one game particularly over and over again, they're not a variety streamer. The chances are that's not a single player game. So that is where a lot of that conversation comes from. But we know from the wider market that single player still has a long shelf life left.
You see, I love Robo's comment there. Is it Robo or Robbo? I guess it is Robo. It's got to be on it.
I read it as Robo. I've never actually. I could have been wrong from day one, but I read it as Robo.
Well, he hasn't corrected us, so he's got to be that on it.
I imagine he's sat there in a full like steel suit, like
RoboCop.
Yeah, exactly. But Daniel in the end.
Robo. There we go.
There we go.
I love his comment. It needs to be more online co-op games. That for me is the pinnacle. Forget about the multiplayer stuff. Forget about team deathmatch. Forget about domination. Forget about battle royale. I want to play more games with my friends in a storyline driven stuff. Like, I know this is going to tear a lot of people up. But something like Far Cry, like I seen actually Asim said that he was playing through Halo with Barry, the Midnight Kid, for those of you that don't know him. That kind of stuff. So we're getting the storyline experience, but we get A Way Out that came out.
Yeah.
Everyone absolutely loved that, but I don't think it was long enough.
I've never played it, and I would love to play that game. I've never played it yet, but the concept, the idea of that, of having two people, different places, playing together to push the story along, love that. I mean, helps that the guy that sold that in that, is it an EA conference? It was. I think, is it Joseph Farrier or whatever his name is, the guy that's got all the personality in the world. I mean, he did a really good job of selling it anyway, but the game looked incredible. Yeah, I love that idea. I mean, I am definitely on board for that. I mean, when we play PES,
exactly. That was the next one that I was going to say.
And I don't even mean Master League. Like when we play PES, am I? Should we have a game against each other? And I've done that a million times. I know that I play against someone, I win, yay, or they win, boo. Okay, fine. I like the idea of playing cooperatively. Like if me and Bib play well together online, not even in Master of the League, play my club and we school someone, that feels so much better, knowing that you've read someone else's moves. You've played shit out yourself, but you've played good at understanding someone else's game as well. I love that feeling much more. That's why I always jump into, does anyone want to play my club co-op? No? Okay, well, I'll play something else instead.
That's the thing though, isn't it? Like I've said it many times while we've been in playing PES Master League, but that is the best Master League experience that I've had in a long time, probably since MLO days. MLO was probably the peak, like, and it was Master League Online, so you kind of getting the best of both worlds. But I haven't enjoyed a solid Master League in God knows how long. I think Become a Legend 2010 was the last time I probably enjoyed a single player football game experience. That said, obviously the journey was okay and the Volta campaign stuff was okay, but still having a game like A Way Out or Far Cry, which is obviously near and dear to how if we could play Resident Evil in a co-op situation as Leon and Claire, that would literally blow my tits off and my head simultaneously. That would be amazing.
Let's figure that out. I mean, just for the clip. Someone get Capcom on the phone. I tell you, we've got the best clip that Twitch has ever seen waiting. We just need you to do one thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll pick up the pace now then. Rolling back up. I think PCs are now amazing, says Steel Bonsai. What they can do, and yes, I would love to have one for other purposes. I currently use an old laptop for the things I do, but even if I had a decent PC, I don't think I could then just stop playing on consoles. It's all I've ever known. I mean, you don't even need to. It's only these separatists that believe that you need to. Console is a different thing to PC. Absolutely get both. If you can, if you can't, you can't, obviously. But if you can, and it's an opportunity, then they do different things. One doesn't replace the other. It can do in some respects, but not entirely. Single player games, I think, will be even better, says James. PS4 had some great ones, and it's going to continue. Multiplayer games, whilst fun, can get a bit boring, and it's so oversaturated. Scrolling down. I was on the PS Store the other day and noticed that there is a Family Fortunes for us UK peeps game. No Les Dennis though. Ooh, well, I'm not interested. No Les Dennis. No Les, no party. I'd imagine companies don't want to take risks with so much money on the line. Yeah, that's a big part of a lot of video game decisions. Is how can we make more money and how can we stop ourselves from potentially losing money. So yeah, you tread the beaten path, which is a shame for a lot of companies. It's often something indie-ish that treads new path, which then the world picks up. So Battle Royale was a community activation that was then picked up, and before the world took over it. Multiplayer in GoldenEye was a staff decision that they kind of put in the game without. I don't know. It was like they were working on their lunch times, and it kind of just got shoehorned into the game and just changed the world of video gaming. So yeah, it's often not the main story that changes the world for the future. I find it tougher to watch single player game on Twitch. Multiplayer is an easy watch. Do you know? I do agree with that as well. Wicked Slippers. I think PUBG is what I watch mostly on Twitch because PUBG it's like an episode. Every game of PUBG is a single episode. It's either going to be a 5-minute episode where someone dies, or it's going to be a 35-minute episode where someone goes against the odds, gets all the best loot in the world, turns into a tank early on and just murders everyone. Or someone is literally running through the game with just a spatula, and it's like, okay, you're gonna get wrecked. Finds a packet of chewing gum, manages to put it all together, and all of a sudden they've got enough to just kill the one last person in the game. It's all the story. Whereas single player, you are delivering a story and working through it, but you either, for me, the issues for me are I've not played it, so I don't want to watch it, or I have played it, so I know what you're going to do. So why do I need to watch it when I could watch something else instead? So yeah, that's my. I don't tend to watch much single player content. I do watch more multiplayer content, absolutely. Would love more co-op games as long as it's not the Division 3. I think both are great and I enjoy doing both. I do too. But definitely multiplayer games and streams are more fun to play and watch. Co-op Master League would be awesome. 2 players, 2 teams existing in the same world competing against each other like Football Manager Online. Yes, please. Make it happen, Swoosh. You've said it now. If you don't make it happen, be having words, mate. I've enjoyed
Online is amazing.
The logic. I mean, having 2 teams where you can choose to sell each other and you can snipe players that the other ones are going for and all of that sort of like tacticky stuff. Yes, please. Yeah. I've enjoyed co-op games with my kids like Overcooked, Moving Out, etc. Overcooked is a world-class game. It is genuinely incredible.
It's a divorce material.
It is,
but
absolutely.
it is
much prefer a great single story-driven game than online multiplayer for the most part. Only exception is Warzone with the lads. That said, wouldn't mind a story-driven co-op experience. Yeah, all of them, please. All of them, please. Okay, one final story. As mentioned, we have spoken a lot about PlayStation throughout this episode. I said that there was a little bit of a caveat for the green side of the console war towards the end. And that is this, as Xbox Series S and X is better at playing PS2 games than the PS5. This is written by Don Peppiatt of VG247. It says, retro gaming enthusiasts are managing to get PlayStation 2 games up and running on Microsoft's Xbox Series S and X. By using some tricks inside the S and X's built-in developer mode, games are managing to emulate PS2 titles on the new tech and emulate them well. The emulation scene on the new Xbox hardware has been progressing steadily since the consoles launched earlier in November. And now, creators like Modern Vintage Gamer, video is embedded below, although it actually isn't, because, you know, cookies and that, are showing off just how well the new Xbox systems can run legacy titles. Do you want to drop the link into the video in the chat, baby?
Yep, give me a sec.
The video above, which Baby will be dropping to the chat for those that do want this, shows off the likes of God of War, Shadow of the Colossus, God Hand, and more working via Xbox Series S. Though there are some occasional bugs, for the most part, the titles run smoothly and are emulated without serious visible issues. This is all thanks to Developer Mode, a feature that can be enabled on the Xbox Series S hardware. Once the mode has been enabled, players can run RetroArch simulation with excellent performance, according to YouTuber Modern Vintage Gamer. RetroArch is a free, open source and cross-platform emulator that allows games to be played outside their native platforms for what it's worth. As one user on Gaming Forum Reset Era notes, PS5 can't play these games, but the Xbox consoles can. Lol. In theory, the emulator will also be able to play PlayStation, PSP, and a few Nintendo titles too. If you're keen on trying something like this yourself, the YouTuber links to a guide that allows you to set up your Xbox Series S or X in developer mode and provides more insight into how the process works over on their channel. Just be aware that running emulation software on the hardware may be contrary to some of Microsoft's terms and agreements, so try this at your own risk, which is pretty big caveat to put right at the end, but we appreciate it nonetheless. There is, I mean, I do appreciate the sense of irony that the Xbox Series S and X can play PS2 games, but the PS5 can't. Lol. Lol. Let's all laugh and point. I mean, obviously, it would not change anything for me. I'm not going to be playing many PS2 games anyway. I mean, apart from, you know, Metal Gear Solid 3 when I come back to playing that at some point. But yeah, there you go. Yeah. I mean, as someone that plays more retro games than me, Bib, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched MVG's videos for what feels like an absolute eternity. His videos are always a full-on deep dive. As someone who used to work at Microsoft way back in the day, so he knows all about how the software can work and its limitations. He did 2 videos leading up to this one, telling you about how you can get into the back end using developer mode and what's available to you. Now, this obviously article, it won't go into depth because they want you to watch the video, but it's not as easy as what's been written and made out in this article. Obviously, you have to get the developer mode, which I think you have to pay £4 for. to have access to it. And then you can put in stuff like RetroArch that will then give you the cores to be able to run and play these games. A lot of them are still heavily under development, so they won't run necessarily at 30 or 60 frames, because obviously it relies on the CPU and getting the most out of that. That CPU does have a limit on it when you're in developer mode, so it won't give you the full power. However, he said if you was to buy an Xbox Series X for $300, which is £250 for us, I think it was, for the limited one, it is the best way to be able to play retro games at this moment in time for the price that you're paying. Like the amount of capabilities that this has straight out of the box 2 weeks after launch is unrivaled. Like, you can't even do most of the stuff on an Nvidia Shield the way that the performance is coming out of this console. That said, it is only 2 weeks since launch, so there is still a hell of a lot of development. In a year's time, in a year from now, if you have one of these and it is the way that you want to be able to play and capture any kind of old retro video games, whether that be PlayStation 1, 2, Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, any of these, this will be the best way. Now, he did put in a lot of different games in there for you to be able to test, and a few of them were a little bit ropey. Like, the gameplay might be 56 frames, but the audio would be out of sync. So if you are interested in retro video games, then I 110% want you to watch this video, because it will give you a very, very good idea of where we're going to be going in the future, especially if you are into trying to capture PS2 games. If you want to stream your old Master League stuff without the use of using your PC as an emulator, then this could be the way for you.
Yeah, absolutely. The big note at the end, though, obviously, is something to take on board. If you are looking to do that, look into Microsoft's terms and agreements, because you don't want to either brick your console or get your accounts blocked or whatever. It could be a good way going forward, though. I mean, obviously, you can stream emulated games on Twitch, providing you own the license to them. So say if I have PS5 for the PS2, which I do, but I don't have a PS2 to be able to play it on, which I don't here. It's at my mum's house, but I have an emulated version. I can stream the emulated version because I own the license to it that way. Twitch are happy enough with that, in the fact that you're not just ripping the video game off. That's fine. But obviously, this would be fine from that perspective, as long as Microsoft are keen with it. So make sure you do your due diligence if it is something you've got to be looking into as well. Also, got to be careful unlocking the FPS in older games, as a lot of it is tied to frame rates. Absolutely. I got a PC to play PS6 to start streaming again, and now we found out the Xbox Series X is doing it. Unlucky! But there you go. Do you know what? All that news about the PS5 throughout the show, and it turns out that the Xbox is better than the PS5 at playing PS2 games.
Stealing it.
There you go. I've seen another video of his where the Dreamcast was modded to be a dev kit for the PS2. I think it was, and loads of indie developers used them because it was cheaper than getting multiple official dev kits. Interesting. See, I love how creative people are. I mean, I'm here still struggling to put a pencil onto a piece of paper and just write the date without getting the year wrong. I mean, I don't even know what year. This year it's fine for getting the year wrong. I mean, you remember the year, nobody knows what month or day it is. So, yeah. Anyway, speaking about nobody knowing what month or day it is, that's pretty much it. If you don't know what month or day it is, it's around December the 1st, and we will be back on December the 2nd with more content, but we are going to wrap things up for today. A little bit of a pointer for the rest of the week. We stream each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. ish on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. We will be back tomorrow. Following that, we will have our PES modded Master League series. That's an episode on PES 2020 that we play with a fully modded Master League on PC. Because console is a dead gaming platform, obviously. That's why we play on PC. No, we play on PC because it is modded with new stadiums, new kits, and all sorts of things. So we will have that episode tomorrow. On Thursday, we usually have the scoop followed by PUBG. There will be no PUBG following the scoop, and there will be no scoop, although Bibby might have some content in the morning, because Thursday is my birthday, so I will be AFK for the day, getting absolutely massive, eating all the things.
On Thursday we absolutely will be doing a scoop. It won't be as long as this. Like, usually we have today is kind of an anomaly. We've run over nearly an hour and 40 minutes, but I will definitely at 10 a.m. on Thursday be doing some sort of scoop. It may only be half an hour and just running through a few news articles that I found, but just to keep the spot hot and to give you give you guys some video game news that I know you're all here to see. It will still be happening on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah. Chopper says, happy birthday for Thursday, dude. Thank you very much, dude. And Wicked Slipper says, happy birthday for Thursday. Much appreciated. Wicked Slippers also says, does this show go on a podcatcher? Well, it's funny you should say that. We do. Do you know, actually, before I steal thunder and stuff, I will allow Bibby to finish his closing comments. Is there anything you want to throw in, Bib?
Yeah, if you do see any video game news knocking around the social platform of your choice, there is 2 ways that you can find us. First of all, it's at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms. Second place, get into our Discord. There is a little place in there for you called The Scoop. All we need is the URL to the article. Add your first impressions. We will then give you our first impressions on the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow, Mr. Graham Day?
10 a.m.
Big-ish.
Ish.
Like it got 11 today, so
Ish. Obviously, if you're following, you'll get notified when we go live anyway. But we do turn this into a podcast. We put it out on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play if you want the audio podcasts. It does get uploaded to YouTube as well a little bit later on the day. So if you want to see the full video from start to finish, it will be on YouTube there. So hopefully that answers the question that you've got. Chappers does have a question though. It says guest host Bib ?
It's something that I'll think about. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't even know if are you set up for guest hosts on your end? I don't know if we've actually got that in place.
No, it probably will just be. It might be something that I'd end up tweaking tonight or tomorrow. But who knows? Who knows?
We can have a conversation on that anyway. I probably need to export all of my scenes and send that over to you anyway, so you've got all the bits. But yeah. On that bombshell, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us and for the birthday messages. I appreciate that very much. We will be back at 10 a.m.-ish in the morning with the next episode of The Scoop. Until then, have yourselves a fantastic day. And in ice creamy fashion, stay frosty.